students, today before we get started on our art project, I wanted to look at this picture. This picture was done by a Mexican folk art artist, and folk art is art that's done by artists who are not professional artists. So the person who painted this picture, they had to learn from another person, and it's kind of a tradition that's passed down from generation to generation, usually within a family. This picture is done, you notice, on brown paper, and that's where the bark paper, the aspect of the painting is. So it's called Amate Bark painting, and this is done in Mexico. And so they have to make the paper out of a particular kind of bark from a tree in Mexico, and that gives it that brown color, of course, right? Usually bark is kind of brown. But anyway, in the pictures, they have a lot of elements that I'd like to talk about that we're going to try to put into our picture. So first of all, you'll notice in this picture they have some birds that are flying or sitting in a tree or a bush. And so we're going to today try to draw a cuckoo. You also notice that they're very focused on a lot of patterns. You can see in the wings and in the tail. And then also color patterns and using bright colors. Okay, so we want to do that also. Again, you'll notice in the background there's kind of a vine-ish bush or tree or something there with green leaves on it and flowers. And then down at the bottom you'll see there's some cactuses coming out of the ground, which is just that line at the bottom. So the pictures are very flat. There's some overlapping, but not a lot of detail as far as, you know, the whole surrounding around it. Okay, something else that they include in their picture, which this one doesn't have a formal border, but a lot of times the bark paintings will have a fancy border that goes around the outside edge. So I wanted you to include that. In this picture, there's kind of an informal border with the flowers. You notice they kind of all go around the outside other than that one right in the middle. Between the two birds. So anyway, we're going to today work on making our own Amate bark painting in the style of the Mexican folk artists. Okay, so hold on while we switch and get supplies ready, and I'll show you what you need to do this project. Hi everyone. Today we're going to do an Amate bark painting. This is a traditional folk craft from Mexico, and so what you're going to need for this project is a paper bag. Would be good, or if you have a piece of cardboard, or you could take like a cereal box and use the back of a cereal box, that would work too. Just something that's brown in color. If you have brown construction paper, you can also use that. You're going to need some scissors, and I'm thinking for this project that crayons or colored pencils would probably be the best thing to use for coloring. You could also use markers too. I think they might work okay if you have Sharpies. If you have oil pastels, those would work really good as well. They'd probably be most ideal thing to use, but just to keep it basic, crayons, colored pencils, markers, they'll all work just fine. Okay. All right, so what we need to do is we need to cut part of our bag. So we're just going to cut out a part, and we have a piece of paper. I'm just going to cut out a section here. Alright, now, talked about these being bark paintings and the paper being handmade. It actually has kind of a rough edge to it, so I'm going to pull this off the back here, the handle. I don't need that. Get rid of the handle there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the edge here, and I'm just going to rip and make it a little bit uneven. So do that all the way around. Yeah. Okay, so this is my piece of paper that I have ripped out here. You're going to need a pencil to draw this, and then later you can go back over with a black Sharpie or a marker, but I'm going to draw it in Sharpie first so that you can see what I'm doing. So what we're going to do is we're going to start up here at the top, and we're going to draw a circle for the head of our cuckoo. And then our cuckoo, he needs an eye, so we're going to draw an eye right here. And give him a little eyeball right there. Okay, next he needs a beak. So I'm going to draw a long beak. They have kind of long beaks like that, and they're sort of thin on the top. This is the top, and then we're also going to do a bottom, which is a little bit shorter, like that. Okay, so that's his beak. And then his body of the cuckoo, it's going to be kind of a raindrop shape, and I want to leave room because these cuckoos have a really long tail, and they're actually called a squirrel cuckoo in Mexico. I'm not sure why they're called that. Maybe you can look that up and figure that out later. But anyway, I'm going to draw the body here, go down, and back up like this. Okay, so it's like a big U shape right there for the body. And then the tail is going to go below this. So we're going to make that really long. Kind of fan out at the bottom and then come back up this way. It's a little bit flat on the bottom. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to give him some legs right here. Well, not actually legs, just his claws. So I'm going to draw a letter Y, like this, and then one line right in the middle, right there. Okay, so write a letter Y, and then a line in the middle. Okay, so he's got his feet kind of tucked up, because we're going to have his wings open, like he might be getting ready to take off from the tree that we're going to draw, or the vine we're going to draw in the background. Alright, so we need to do some wings. So we're going to draw kind of a curved line out like this. And I want to leave a little bit of room along the edge here because we're going to draw a border. And then draw another curve on this side. And don't go all the way out to the edge. Try to get them about the same if you can. Mine, you know, aren't perfect, but it's okay. Alright, and then we're going to go down this way. We want to go down to about the bottom of his body right here with the wings. Okay, and then we're going to do kind of a zigzag, curvy zigzag line for the bottom of his wings. So we're going to go like this, across here, like that. And then same thing on this side. Do a curvy line, like that. All right. So that's going to be his wings. And then we can draw some lines just to give it some pattern that we can then fill in. If you want to do other patterns than what I'm doing, you can change yours and make it however you want. But I'm just going to do this. Alright, and then down here at the bottom, I'm going to add some lines on his tail. And then on his body, I'm going to do like a feather pattern. So I'm going to do U-shapes, like that. And then when I start the next row, I'm going to start in the middle of this U and go across like that. So I need to back up there. And then I'm going to keep doing that all the way down on his body.
U-shapes. So it looks like feathers. I'm not sure if the cuckoo has a little feather on his head or not. I might add one just because I think it would look cool to do that. So you decide. These, this is sort of a design, and it doesn't have to be perfect.
Or, look realistic. I'm going to give him some feathers on the top of his head there, too. Alright, so remember in the picture, besides the bird, they also had plants in the background. So I'm gonna add a vine. So I'm just gonna draw kind of a curvy line here behind the bird. So I'm doing some overlapping and imagining where the vine might go behind him. Okay, so that's a nice long curvy line there. And I'm gonna go back and double it up. I'm gonna start thicker at the bottom, but then as I go up toward the top, I'm gonna start getting thinner with it. And then just go to a point right there. Okay, and then down here, we're going to show a little bit of ground. Just draw a line right there for some ground. And then I'm going to add some leaves that are coming off of this vine. So I'm going to draw some big leaves different places along the vine. And then something else that they include in their picture are flowers. So I'm going to add some flowers. So you could do any kind of flowers, but I'm just going to do like simple circle and then draw petals going out around the outside of it. So add some flowers, whatever kind of flowers you want to do. Maybe do a little circle inside of the, and I might do a little tiny one right here. Okay, and then if you have room around the outside, I'd like you to add a border. So I'm going to make an irregular border. I'm not going to make it straight. It's going to kind of follow the outside of the paper here. You can decide what kind of border you want to have. You could do like I'm doing or something different. You know Mr. Lloyd's all about you kind of doing your own thing. You come up with your own ideas. So this is just to get you started. Alright, so I kind of ran out of room there. That's okay. So we go back around here. Alright, and then I might go back and I might divide this up. Give it some lines here. You get the idea. So here's my picture. Alright, the next thing you're going to want to do is color it in. So I have one that I've already colored in. I wanted to show you here. This one here. Okay, and I just wanted to show you, I had talked about the materials that we could use. So for this side right here, I used crayon. So this is all crayon right here on this wing, and this wing over here is all colored pencils. So you can see they're very similar in the way they turn out. The lighter colors aren't as bright on the brown paper. And then this is all marker. And I just noticed when I was coloring these in, like the yellow was not even showing up very well. But when the marker dried, it actually shows up better. So as you're coloring, don't worry about if you're using markers. If it's not showing up really well, when the marker is dry on the paper, you'll actually see it better. Okay, so you can use marker to color in anything that you'd want to color in. Okay, so markers work good. You could use oil, again, you can use oil pastels, or paint, if you have any paint. I'm not sure about watercolor paint. You can give it a try. It wouldn't hurt. And then also trace it with a Sharpie or a black marker. One suggestion I would say is that if you're using markers to color everything, trace it with the black marker last. That way the color won't pick up the black marker when you're coloring over it. So do the black marker last after you're done coloring everything in. If you're going to use crayons or colored pencils, you can do the black with this marker first, or the Sharpie. That's fine. Okay, hope that's enough information. Looking forward to seeing what you do and post it on Seesaw. Have a good day. Bye.